Well, okay. You know how if you do, like, I don't know, like a top 10 best anime that ever existed, you know, you gotta at least mandatorily put, like, Cowboy Bebop or Evangelion or DBZ. Like, you have to put that on there. You know, and so whenever you make a top 10 list, like, I don't know, like, best horror movie, you know, I don't know, It is probably going to be on there somewhere, even if you like Stephen King. So, yeah, with this list, it's like top 13, you know, best gory manga series for Halloween, right? Well, GANTZ is pretty much obligated to be on there, so here it is. Here is GANTZ. How to sum up GANTZ. Oh yeah, dude, GANTZ! It's the most hardcore, intense, manly manga that ever existed. It's got guns, explosions, giant mechs, dinosaurs, vampires, tits, explosions, guns that make more explosions, giant robots that punch other giant robots, tits, explosions, giant guns. Okay, dude. I get it, okay? Jesus. Alright, care to elaborate on any part of the story that relates to all that stuff? Yeah, the story, yeah, that's the best part. Explosions and spaceships and vampires and psychic guys and giant beefy Chinese guys that break you in half, and and aliens that control giant scythe blades, and other aliens that look like little miniature Italian statues. Looks like I'm not getting out of this one. Alright, GANTZ. Well, it was written by Hiroya Oku, who basically stated as one of his more favorite things to draw, or as I think he put it, girls with big tits that jump right out at you. So yeah, you already know where this is going. In fact, he likes that a lot because, yeah, pretty much every cover page for GANTZ, yeah, that looks like this. And these are actually some of the more tamer ones. It usually involves sometimes 2 or more women doing some kind of erotic pose for the readers. So if you haven't figured it out by now, this is as seinen can get. It's not really a far cry to state it as kind of like the quasi-ultimate man manga. You know, it takes everything that guys are supposed to like. Right, guys out there, come on, who's watching this videos? Girls, you don't understand. Girls, you can leave. It's okay. You don't have to be here for this. You don't have to sit through it. You can go and I don't know, paint something on your body a different color, or go buy something shiny, or watch something sad on TV. You don't have to be here for this, alright? So, guys, we like stuff to explode. I'm just gonna go on record and say I like watching shit blow up. Also, as a guy, I tend to like guns. I don't hunt or anything, but I like guns. They're cool. They shoot things. You know, going back to my Def the Kid reference to Soul Eater, and I'm also not ashamed to admit that as a straight man, I also am fond of a good, nice, big pair of bouncy breasts, you know? So GANTZ has all of this. In fact, it has a shit ton of this. So you might be thinking, like, I should love this series, right? Look, here's the thing. The series itself, in terms of story, is not bad. The story itself can be summed up fairly quickly. Basically, there's this omnipotent machine-type thing. It's referred to as GANTZ. It's a black sphere. And basically, this thing has the power to essentially scan a human being and make a copy of it. Sort of like copy and paste on your computer. There's a bunch of computer and tech jargon, you know, comparisons throughout the entire series. So basically, right before you're about to die, but just by accident, by disease, by getting gunned down in the street in an alleyway, whatever, GANTZ is able to take a copy of your body and paste you right into his room, and basically this empty hotel apartment in in Japan. And so you're actually dead. Your real body's dead. It's just a complete copy. It has all your memories, it has all your personality traits, everything down to the last brain cell is replicated, and you're popped into this room, but your real body is dead. So, why does GANTZ do this? Because he's such a great, benevolent deity, right? No. Because he wants you to fight in this kind of twisted, demented video game type setting where he gathers a bunch of people that have died in this room, and he tells you to go out and fight random aliens. That's right, aliens. Just these aliens that come to live on Earth. Tells you to go and blow them the fuck up. And how does he do this? Well, inside of the black ball, there's a bunch of slew of armaments. There's a suit that gives you basically inhuman strength, enables you to jump high, and gives you great and godly amounts of endurance. There's a variation of kind of like a laser pressure gun sort of thing. It has a lag when you fire it, but there's it's pretty much destructive when it does hit. You just have to get the timing right. There's a pistol version of this, and then there's a shotgun rifle type version of this. It can only be adapted into a sniper rifle as well with a scope. There's a Y-shaped gun that's referred to as the net gun, which basically traps an enemy and sends them off to somewhere in the solar system galactic prison or something. I don't know. There's also a bunch of other weapons we found out about later, like this bitchin' one-wheeled motorcycle thing that's also capable of flight. There's swords that are introduced, which are basically able to cut through anything and increase their length indefinitely. But I'll get to that later down the line. So that's basically the plot right there. I basically gave it to you. The main character is named Kei Kurono, which kind of stands tall as one of, in terms of the seinen series, as the typical, manga badass. He can take out any enemy. He's freaking cool like that. That kind of guy. Although he does happen to die a couple times. Well, oh yeah, I probably should explain the rules of the game a little bit. So basically the rules go, every time you defeat the level, essentially, and you don't die, it doesn't matter how bad you get injured, as long as you're not dead, GANTZ can fix you, because living things are just things in this universe. He brings you back to the room, and you're awarded a point value system, like a video game. You get to 100 points, and you get a choice between 3 different options. You get to either leave GANTZ's room, you get to either get a really cool badass weapon, as I previously stated with the other ones, which includes a thing called the H gun or Z gun, which is basically a giant gun that condenses gravity to an insane degree at a certain point, which ultimately crushes your enemy, no matter how big they are, into a giant puddle of goo. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And there's also a hard suit, which is basically like a giant miniature mech version of the GANTZ suit, which you can get into. And there's also actually a giant mech version of the GANTZ suit. And the third option is that you get to bring someone back who previously died in the game. Yeah, all that stuff I just explained, by the way, not revealed with, in the first, I think, 150 chapters in a 300 chapter series. And you might be thinking, holy shit, the pacing sucks in this series. And you just discovered the main problem. In the GANTZ world, the story is not necessarily bad. The characters aren't even necessarily bad. Yeah, they do get kind of on your nerves sometimes. Pretty much everybody, every random person that, Kei just randomly runs into on the street, even his teachers, even his classmates, are the biggest dicks you will find on the planet. It's like literally they're literally the most, okay, you ever watch like a bad 90s action movie and the villain is just so cynical and evil, kind of like Dr. Evil from Austin Powers, except in that movie he was portrayed as kind of a parody. In like a bad 90s action movie, the bad guys, slick back hair, sitting in his chair, the finger pyramid of deceit, just sitting there being like, yes, after I retrieve all the world's gold, I will be the most evil son bitch on the face of the planet. Oh yes. That kind of guy. That's how every normal person acts in this series. It gets annoying. It really does. Want an example? Okay, I'll give you an example. Alright, so there's a kid. His name's Nishi, right? And I'm not going to go too much into his character. He doesn't have much of a character. He's kind of like, he's kind of a sadist. He's a middle school student, but he's kind of, he's the kind of like, he beats small animals to death, that sort of thing. So he's demented. He's sick. Alright? There was a chapter that made me feel so sorry for this kid. As I previously stated, beats small animals to death in his spare time. Probably would even do the same to human beings if he had the chance. He actually has done that. But there was one chapter where he goes to class, right? He goes to class in the middle school in Japan, and his collective students unanimously all agree that he is the scum of the earth. They proceed to riot, pick him up out of his seat, and throw him out of a 4-story window! He doesn't die, because he has the GANTZ suit on, but they didn't know that. They have no idea about the GANTZ suit. They have no idea. Think of wherever you went to school at, if you even are still in school, if you are still in school, this will probably be more apt. Think of the weirdest kid you know. Think of the weird kid, you know, dresses all in black, wears the face makeup, sits at the back of the study hall room writing his lame-ass poetry that everyone just doesn't like, or everyone finds creepy. Still, would you think that everyone in your class, like a good 20, 30 kids, would all rally to agree? It's like, yeah, hey, yeah, we should just commit homicide here. Yeah, fuck it, no one likes this kid, right? We don't care. Teachers aren't going to give a shit, which in the GANTZ universe they probably wouldn't. Let's just pick the guy up and throw him out of the window. So, that's how these characters act. That's probably the most annoying aspect of this series, I find, in terms of the story itself. That the people are just pure, unmitigated evil, some bitch bastards. Like, they are unredeemable in every single quality. I know I'm jumping around a bit with the story, but the story's really not much to go on. I mean, spoilers in this world are not even really apt because the story moves along at a snail's pace, and that is the other major issue. The issue that, the whole issue altogether is the pacing. Because GANTZ chapters don't work like normal chapters. It's a monthly series, so you maybe get about 20 or 30 pages. The problem is, there's hardly any dialogue. The series ran for about 363 chapters, I think. It's finished now. And all told, some of these chapters don't even have any dialogue. They are completely taken up by the awesome art style, which is actually very interesting, and I'll get into that in a second. But, you know, it moves along at a snail's pace because the author pays more attention to, you know, the aforementioned, you know, explosions and giant robot fighting, which works great for an anime. Works perfect for an anime. Problem is, this isn't an anime, dude. It's a manga. When we wait an entire month to get a chapter, we read it, and the entire chapter, which is like 32 pages, has about as much dialogue that can be condensed into 2 pages. That's a problem. Alright, I don't care how cool the art style is if you don't advance the story every chapter. It wouldn't be as big as an issue if it was a weekly series, but it isn't. And the art style, I'll get into that, is different. I will give it that much. See, the art style with GANTZ works like this. They basically scan in an image in real life. Like, they take a door in real life, digitally scan it in like a 3D rendering process, and then they stick it in the chapter. So, you get really cool images like this. I mean, that's pretty bitchin', I will admit. I really don't care that much about the images or how epic they are if the characters really aren't, you know, if they aren't going to be developed at all. And they are at least a little bit, but you know, it's a far cry from a typical other manga series. Another problem with the art style, and at least the main problem with the art style anyway, is despite how cool it can look in some panels it gets freaking cluttered as hell. I mean, look at this. I mean, this panel is basically a mech punching another mech. But because it's all in black and white, which is the problem with the manga medium, not like I went into last episode with the Uzumaki, you know, that's the main problem. It should, if it's going to be so clustered like that, don't do the whole fancy 3D rendering process. I mean, you could take like the most coolest scene ever, like this skyline of a city, and it looks, you know, jumbled enough, but take all the color out of it, and this is what you get. You know, you get a jumbled mess of, you know, you can't really make sense out of it. And there's a lot of scenes like that where, you know, you'll see like a mech will blast a missile into the side of the building, and then for the next 3 pages we'll just get the building falling. You know, and it's all just a jumbled mix of like, what's the smoke, what's the metal, what's the glass, what's this, what's that, what the hell does that look like, you know, and then you'll get a lot of the enemies the same way. A lot of the enemies and the aliens that are supposed, some of them are actually cleverly designed and differently designed. Other aliens are just massive globs of like bad CG that somehow found its way into the manga universe. You know, it's just, what the hell am I looking at? Like, I don't get it, you know? So, you know, that's GANTZ, and I was jumbling around here a lot. You know, I was jumbling from like the beginning of the series to the end of the series, but as I said, there aren't really many spoilers. You know, these guys get together and they go and fight aliens, and it is a series where main characters die, where characters that are introduced at the beginning, you think they're main characters, they end up dying, but the aspect of death is kind of removed once you find out that GANTZ can just resurrect whoever. Because at the end of the day, life has no mystery. There's no, you know, pearly gates on the other side. It's just repetition. Just science knowledge, scientific knowledge, I guess, at the end of the day. So, yeah, that's series GANTZ in a nutshell. Sorry if I disappointed some of you guys, but that's basically what you got. As for anime, it does have an adaptation as well as a live-action movie. The live-action movie is It's alright. I mean, it has an English dub if you want to go check it out. It's not the best watch, though. The anime had to have a filler ending. It followed the manga up to a point, just like Black Butler Soul Eater did, and had a filler ending. I think it was like 26 episodes or some such. It's, the filler ending I used to hate with a passion, but then after I sat down and actually thought that I'm complaining about an ending in, GANTZ, I decided, you know what, it's not even worth complaining about the filler. The filler's probably just on par with the manga at this point anyway. It may be a little bit, the manga might be a little bit better, but that's not going to be much. On the Gorometer, I mean, I gotta rank it a 5. I gotta rate it Kratos level Bloodbath because, you know, it gets pretty gory. I mean, the last arc of the series basically has these giant aliens coming down from this massive space colony mothership and killing humans and eating them for snack treats. So yeah, it gets pretty graphic. Aside from that, there's also some pretty graphic sex scenes and stuff like that. There's some scenes where, you know, there's child abuse thrown in there too at some points. It gets pretty intense. It's not for the faint of heart. I really would not recommend reading this if you're squeamish or if you're against certain things like that, because it gets a little bit more gory than just beyond blood. You know, there's some more sick, demented shit in this manga series beyond that. So if you're not ready, I mean, it's not as bad as like other series we're gonna get into here, but it gets pretty messed up at times. So I gotta rank it a 5 on that on the Gorometer. But yeah, aside from that, that's basically all I got to say. Also, yeah, going along with that interview about Oku, when he said, you know, what his favorite thing was, and he talked about, you know, big-breasted girls that pop out. I believe he also said that his least favorite thing was how girls in manga and anime are drawn with cat ears. Oh, in that case, I don't think he's really going to like the next series we're going to talk about. Oh, wait, crap. Hey, say hi to the people. Finally made it an episode, huh, without dying. It's pretty commendable. You know, I had to think, you know, GANTZ is such a violent series that really talks to the more darker side of you, you know, like you're walking in a crowd and you hear everyone talking to you and you hear all the voices and you're like, oh my god, I wonder what would happen if all these people except me just dropped dead right now. You know, it was a pretty violent series, all things considered. So I figured, you know, I'm not going to highlight this review by doing anything, you know, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to keep it pretty Mr. Rogers in this one because you don't deserve that. Violence begets violence, and at the end of the... fuck it.